So the Zekvir second difficulty fight has been nerfed to allow everyone to be able to actually complete it, as before it was virtually impossible. In this video, I want to show you guys the easiest way to get this achievement, Let Me Solo Him, which also will allow you to loot the Void skin for your Delver's Dirigible mount. And you need to do this, I believe, before Season 2 starts. So let's jump right into it. And guys, just to be aware, I'm also going to do a commentary of my kill at the end of the video as well. So if you'd like to just see the full kill video and I'll commentate it a bit, then just stay till the end to watch that. So to unlock this difficulty of Zekvir, you need to complete a tier 10 delve, any tier 10 delve with some lives remaining. So work your way through the tiers until you complete a tier 10. Basically just take these slow and you shouldn't have too much of an issue. I'm sure it's much harder for some classes though. After that, you can head to Zekvir's lair, which is here on the map in the City of Threads. And then you're going to select that question mark difficulty. This is the one we need to complete to get this skin for our mount. Just to give some context before we start, I completed this as a 609 item level Demonology Warlock, and I have barely done any group content up until this point. So this item level is very achievable with just doing weeks and weeks of delves and getting those Delver's Bounty chests as well. I did enchant my gear for this one with kind of the cheaper enchants and the lower quality, less popular ones. So I would recommend doing that as much as you can. The more damage you can get out of your gear, the better, obviously, and the easier this is going to be. And I also popped a quality 2 flask for this fight as well, which was a haste flask. So you might want to look into that as well. And gameplay quality was questionable. It took me a long time to get this kill with my item level, and more item level is just going to make this entire fight easier and easier and easier. My brand was level 43 in healer spec with a 4 out of 4 porcelain arrowhead and a 4 out of 4 amorphous relic. To unlock those, just go and do more bountiful delves and open those bountiful coffers. You'll find them in there, as well as the Delver's Bounty chests as well, and that small chance that you get of getting up one of those maps per delve that you can then go into the next delve and get a chest. You have a chance of getting the relics in there too. Nice. So moving on to phase 1, because there is 2 phases to this fight now in the question mark difficulty. It is the first 40%, which is almost identical to that first difficulty of the 1 question mark fight that I covered in a previous video. We have the same 5 abilities and then 1 extra interruptible heal as well. Also to be aware that the interrupts are also scaled based on your class when you are solo in this fight, based on the interrupts that are available to you. If you haven't done any Zekvir fights before, I will briefly explain all of these abilities. First of all, we have Angler's Web. This one is a narrow frontal cone aimed at his current target, which grips you in and basically one-shots you. This can be dodged. Claw Smash is a wide frontal cone aimed at you or Brand that deals massive damage. This can also be dodged, and we'll talk about how to avoid this better later on in the video. Horrendous Roar is a 15-yard AoE around the boss that deals a lot of damage and also fears you for 4 seconds if you're in the circle when the cast finishes. Enfeebling Spittle is an interruptible cast that puts a 20-second dot on you that does a lot of damage. It's also a magic effect and a snare, so you can use snare removals or magic dispels to get rid of this. Cobweb Terror summons a cocoon somewhere in the room away from Zekvir, which has 9.8 million health, and it basically has a slow cast, and when that cast finishes, if the cocoon is not dead, it's going to spawn a spider, and that spider is going to shoot you with a stun if not interrupted as well. And our new ability for the question mark difficulty is regenerating. Okay, how do I actually say this? I don't know.
Carapace.
Regenerating Carapace, apparently, is how you pronounce that. Heals Zekvir for 10% of his maximum health if it's not interrupted. So how are we going to get through phase 1? We'll start the fight off. You can hold your cooldowns at the beginning if you'd like to, and basically tank the boss in the center of the room, ideally. Make sure to interrupt every single heal that he casts. Focus your interrupts for that one. Immediately switch to the cocoon when it spawns and use your cooldowns. You'll have to work out for your class when is best to use your cooldowns. For me, I was kind of just cycling through them on a warlock, even popping them all at the start, because I could still then get the cocoon down without popping all my cooldowns if I'd kind of started ramping already. But if you have lower cooldowns than me, or easier setup with your cooldowns on a different class, you might want to just hold them for every single cocoon. Don't stand directly underneath the boss, as you won't have time to run out of the fear. Try to tank the boss at max melee range, but no further, other than when you need to run out for the fear, or if you know Claw Smash is on cooldown. The reason for this is that, of course, the further away you are from the boss, the harder Claw Smash is to dodge, because it's that wide cone. On top of this, we need to use a snare removal or magic dispel for each enfeebling spittle. Healer Brand will also dispel this, but it's not very consistent. You'll need to do a few pulls to work out some of the timings of the different abilities and things like that. But to recap phase 1 there, stand close to the boss to help avoid that Claw Smash. The closer you are to the boss, the easier this is going to be to avoid, but not so close that you can't get out of that fear when that comes through as well. You need to dodge that Angler's Web, interrupt every regenerating carapace, and remove or interrupt every enfeebling spittle. Try not to stack your removal with Brand's Dispel as well. Immediately switch to and nuke the cocoon every time it spawns. If you keep the boss in the center of the room, it will prevent you from having a lot of downtime traveling across the whole room if he's on one side and shoots it all the way across. If you get all of this down, you rinse and repeat until 60%. And then we move, guys, onto phase 2. At 60%, the boss is going to run to the center of the room and start channeling Black Blood for 10 seconds. He will also take 99% reduced damage at this time. Use this time to finish off any of the cocoons and start setting up for your cooldowns after the channel ends. In phase 2, 3 of the abilities are unchanged. Those are Claw Smash and Enfeebling Spittle.
And Call Web Terror.
The other abilities are modified in some way or brand new. So Horrendous Roar is now Infinite Horror. If hit with this one within the circle, you will be feared indefinitely if you don't die to the damage first. 4 orbs also shoot out from each corner when the cast finishes. These deal massive damage if hit, pretty much a one-shot every time. Regenerating Carapace becomes Blood Infused Carapace. It now heals for 25% rather than the 10% in phase 1. Angler's Web now also spawns Void Portals, which the web will shoot through, and if you're caught in any of the path between the portals, you will get pulled through them all and eventually one shot. And one new ability we have is Unending Spines, which is basically some swirlies on the ground which spawn spines which will one-shot you as well, dodge them. So how do we get through phase 2? Essentially the same as phase 1 with more movement and a couple more things to be aware of. The only differences are that we need to make sure we are not in the path between any of the void portals during Angler's Web. This might take a couple tries to start figuring this out, but you can see the example on the screen here. We just do not want to be in between any of these paths between the portals. As a ranged class with a pet, I could just move right outside of the portals, and then I can make sure I'm not in the path of any of them. I can imagine on melee this is going to be a bit more challenging. You just need to try and look around when those portals spawn and make sure you're not within the path of any of them. If you are unranged and you can move out, make sure you move back in afterwards to make sure that you prevent getting caught in that claw smash. Try to be aware of the paths between them if you can't get all the way out and move to one side. On top of this, when the roar occurs, you will notice 4 orbs. They will shoot out in the direction away from the boss, so make sure you move to the side of all of these as well. And then the only other difference is dodging the swirlies when Unending Spines is cast. The other parts of phase 1 continue. Interrupt every heal, remove or dispel enfeebling spittle, and nuke the cocoon every time it spawns. The difficult part here, at least for me, without a particularly high item level, was not being able to cast during Unending Spines and needing to nuke the cocoon. So don't waste any time getting dots and DPS set up on the cocoon, as when Unending Spines comes through, you're going to have a lot harder time to DPS it. So to recap phase 2, during the transition, hold cooldowns and start setting them up as the boss comes out of transition. Make sure to interrupt every single heal, interrupt or remove or dispel each enfeebling spittle. Bran will help with this also. Try not to stack them. Keep him in the center of the room, staying close to the boss, but not underneath, so you can dodge Claw Smash and Infinite Horror. When dodging Infinite Horror, careful of the orbs which shoot out from the 4 points of the circle. Stay out of the paths of the void portals during Angler's Web. Dodge Unending Spines and nuke the cocoon every time it spawns. And next, guys, we're going to just jump into the full kill commentary, and after that I'll have the outro as well. So if you don't want to watch the entire kill and listen to me talk about it, you can just skip to the outro at the end. And let me know if it would make more sense for me to put this outro, or sorry, put this commentary at the very end of the video after the outro, or if you feel like it's better this way. Okay guys, so jumping into the commentary here, setting up for the start of this fight. I do pop all my cooldowns at the start, knowing that the Claw Smash is coming in, so I'm already running to the side here. Next is the Fear, so I'm making sure that I'm out of range so I don't have to move whilst I'm casting. Of course, I've got my pet on the boss, so it's right in the center here. I need to move back in towards the boss. Enfeebling Spittle gets removed by Bran. I usually let him do that first one, as I know his cooldown is available. Interrupting the heal there and moving out of the Fear. The cocoon has been running here for a little while with 0 damage on it, so I'm running over now to start DPSing that, but it's going to be tight on this first one. Just putting everything into the cocoon here as much as I can. Angler's Web going towards my pet. This Enfeebling Spittle I need to remove, but I'm focusing on that cocoon. Very lucky that I didn't die there. Grab a couple of the pots from Bran there to heal myself back up after the spittle as well. Need to interrupt the heal here, and I'm staying really close to the boss in case of that Claw Smash coming through. There's a next cocoon, a pretty good one here. If I was further out for that Claw Smash, I was definitely dead. Putting damage into the cocoon here. Yeah, I've got that Enfeebling Spittle on me again. I use my Demonic Circle to get rid of that snare and that dot as well. Claw Smash on Bran here, which is nice and easy. Angler's Web at my pet. Interrupting the heal again there. I could have waited a lot longer. If he's casting that heal, he's not doing anything else. And with my Curse of Tongues, it takes 30% longer for him to cast that. Bran dispelling that Enfeebling Spittle. Moving out of that Claw Smash. And moving on to the cocoon here as quickly as I can. So at this point I'm a bit far away from the boss, but Claw Smash is on cooldown. But I'm kind of chasing the boss here, making sure that I'm nice and close for when that Claw Smash comes in. Again, the Fear immediately interrupted. I could have waited a bit longer to make that bit better, and then we're transitioning now into stage 2. So here I'm just building up some of my soul shards, and then I'm starting to channel my cooldowns to start getting that set up, because I had many times when I was trying to get my cooldowns set up and then the Unending Spines would come in and I wouldn't get a chance to use my Demonic Tyrant. Dodging the Unending Spines there. Enfeebling Spittle again coming in. I'm using my Gnome Racial to get rid of that. Cocoon right underneath the boss, which is really lucky. And making sure to interrupt that heal was pretty close there. Recasting my Curse of Tongues on the boss. And nuking the spittle. Or nuking the cocoon, sorry. Watching for the orbs here on each corner. I was nicely positioned, luckily, there. Angler's Web, I'm moving right outside of all these portals, all the paths. That Claw Smash was pretty close as well. I should have been a bit closer to the boss. And then the Unending Spines again, just dodging these. There we go, another heal to interrupt. Always seems to come in around the same time as the cocoon. I'm trying to get as much damage into this cocoon because I feel like those Unending Spines are going to come through again soon. and gonna stop me from getting so much damage on the cocoon. Bran dispelling that enfeebling spittle from me. Grabbing that healing pot whenever I can. I'm a little bit far for that claw smash. I got lucky actually that I was moving at the same time. Infinite horror coming in with the 4 orbs being dodged. Oh, this was really close to me walking into one of those void portals, and then I probably would have panicked and got killed. Again, interrupting the heal there. Don't want to run into those void portals. You can actually go through them even if you don't get grabbed by the angler's web. Next cocoon coming out. Next enfeebling spittle. I get rid of that with my gnome ratio. An awkward angler's web here, just stepping outside the paths. Infinite horror. I was right in the path of that orb there, so I had to move for that one. And then moving with the unending spines as I keep putting damage into that cocoon. Here, I would really like to get the boss back into the center of the room, but it's a bit more difficult with my pet. This claw smash, I'm not in the best position. That was really close again. There's a lot of close calls on this. Using my demonic circle there to remove the enfeebling spittle as Bran is down. Again, dodging the spines. Starting to panic here, probably, as the boss is getting nice and low. Again, it's lucky that I'm at that distance, or that I'm dodging those claw smashes, because I'm really not close enough to the boss there. Grabbing the pots there from my pet as Bran comes back up and nuking this cocoon. Yeah, just stopping all of my casts when that comes through, because you just get one shot immediately. It's not worth trying to get off the DPS. You can just go for a longer fight. Oh, I'm right on the path of that orb there, so I had to move across. As soon as I get near this slope, I get a bit nervous because I kept getting blocked on this, or getting my movement affected. There, oh, that was so close to dying to that spine on 1%. But yeah, there is the kill there. I hope that all makes sense, guys. And you can probably play that a bit slower if you want to see any of that again. And it's as simple as that, guys. Follow all of those tips and you should, after a few pulls, be able to get this boss down and pick up that skin for yourself and that achievement as well. My item level is not particularly high as I don't have time to do much group content. So a lot of people who have been doing heroic raids, mythic raids, and a lot of mythic plus are going to have a lot higher item level and going to find this way easier, but I'm sure it's still beneficial to know exactly all of the different abilities, and it should hopefully speed up the process of getting this kill for you guys as well. I'm also aware that it's going to be very different from class to class. You're going to have to figure this out a little bit on your own, as I'm not sharing it for every single class. I would love if in the comments, if you have done this on a particular class that is not explained in this video, then please comment any tips and tricks for the guys that are also trying to do it on a similar class as well, for those snare removals, for example, and any other ways that make this fight a lot easier, like different specs or whatever it might be. That would be wicked. I hope everyone's enjoyed. As always, guys, thank you so much for the support. I am heading to Australia in a few days, and I'm going to be there for 2 weeks, so the videos might slow down a little bit for the next couple of weeks, and then I'll be back on it when I get back as well. But yeah, thank you so much. Peace.